Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to be covering what Apple announced in today's Let Loose event. And if you want to skip to a specific part in today's video, there will be chapters included down below. But anyways, let's get right into it. So I'm going to structure today's video by going in order of least to the biggest announcement. So let's first go over some of the apps that Apple is going to be releasing soon. So Apple's going to be launching Final Cut Pro 2 for iPad and Logic Pro 2 for iPad. And they're also going to be updating Final Cut Pro to 10.8 for the Mac, and we're moving up to Logic Pro 11 for the Mac. So those are some of the big app updates and releases that we'll be seeing in the coming weeks. So I'm looking forward to testing these out. And another application that they are going to be releasing is Final Cut Camera. So this is going to be a new application that will be coming soon, and it will be available for the iPhone and the iPad. Now let's kind of go over the iPad Air. So the iPad Air got quite a couple of updates, as it hasn't been updated in 2 years. So we now have a new landscape camera, which will be more ideal for when doing video calls, FaceTime, Zoom, all that stuff. It's just going to be overall better compared to having the camera at the top of the iPad as it used to be. And we're getting a new processor upgrade. So now we're jumping from M1 to the M2 chip. So we're gonna get all the advancements that we saw with like the M2 MacBook Air and the M2 MacBook Pros, and you're gonna get a lot of that with this new iPad Air. So it should be nice and snappy and quick, especially if you're coming from an older iPad. And now there's actually two sizes. So we're now having an 11-inch iPad Air and a 13-inch iPad Air. So now you can get that larger size without having to pay the price of the iPad Pro. So a lot of people are going to probably find that very nice and useful to have. It also supports the Apple Pencil Pro, which I will get into later in this video. And we also have support for Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, and now the iPad Air is eSIM only now. So I'm not entirely sure how that would work with the iPad, but I'm assuming it's similar to the iPhone, where your carrier will give you a special QR code that you would set up with your iPad. Something quick I forgot to mention is that the base storage is finally upgraded from 64 gigs to 128 gigs, and we also got two new colors. We got an updated blue and an updated purple, and then we have Starlight and we have Space Gray. Next, let's cover one of probably what I would say the biggest announcements is the new iPad Pro. So the iPad Pro got quite a lot of improvements compared to the M2 iPad Pro. And let's start off by talking about the display. So the iPad Pro now is switching from the mini LED display to an OLED display. Apple says that it's using a new tandem OLED display, and this allows the display to achieve a high brightness of 1600 nits. And the new iPad Pro is actually thinner, and quite a lot thinner actually. It's now 5.1 millimeters thick, and the iPad itself weighs only less than a pound for the 11-inch and just around a pound for the 13-inch. So it's quite a lot lighter than the previous models. And we also got probably one of the biggest surprises is we now got the M4 chip. So the M4 chip has a 9-core CPU, 10-core GPU, up to 16 gigs of RAM, depending on the configuration. So like if you go with a terabyte or a 2 terabyte model, you will get the upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM. And anything below that, it will be a standard 8 gigabytes of RAM. And this M4 chip includes ray tracing, mesh shading, and an AV1 decoder. And you, along with the H.264 encoders and decoders with the ProRes encoders and decoders as well. So you will have all that, which will be great for editing video and doing your photo editing. And we also got a rear 12 megapixel camera with an adaptive flash. This time around, they had removed the ultra-wide camera, so don't expect that on this iPad, as it seems like they've replaced it with some new ambient light sensors that are on the back. Not entirely sure what they're for yet, but there is one thing other than the LiDAR sensor that is on the back, but hopefully we'll find out more as people get these iPads next week. And we also have the landscape front-facing camera, which we saw on the iPad Air in the 10th generation iPad back in October. And we also have a new nano texture display, which will help for a lot of creatives who don't want reflections on the display. So this will help mitigate that problem and make it easier to see the display. We now have a new starting storage level at 256 gigabytes, which is an increase from the 128 that we saw with the previous iPad Pro. And we got a new space black finish and silver. They now start at $999 for the 11-inch and $1,300 for the 13-inch model. Apple is also showing that they've beefed up the neural engine so that it can handle AI tasks even faster than before. And they also showed off some new AI-related features that are going to be in the new Final Cut Pro for iPad and Logic Pro update. So there's quite a few things regarding AI, regarding the M4 chip and the new iPad Pro. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how Apple utilizes this new hardware when WWDC 2024 comes along and announces all the new software, including iPadOS 18. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Alongside the new iPad Pro, Apple released a new Magic Keyboard. And so the previous one was made of silicone, which was very nice. The keyboard and the trackpad and everything was an overall great experience, but they upped their game. So now the Magic Keyboard is made of aluminum. We're getting pretty much like a laptop now, like the Macs. It has that Mac-like feel, has a larger trackpad which has haptic feedback, just like the MacBooks. And we finally have a function row. So now you can control your brightness, enable dictation, do not disturb, straight from the iPad without actually having to touch the screen. So that's nice, and it shows that Apple's going in a step in the right direction when it comes to making the iPad more like a computer. Apple wasn't done yet today. They had something else up their sleeve. And this was the Apple Pencil Pro, which I had mentioned earlier in today's video. The Apple Pencil Pro has quite a lot new gestures that weren't previously available on the second-gen Apple Pencil. And one of these new functionalities is a new squeeze functionality. And so basically with the pencil, you can squeeze towards the bottom of the pencil where you would normally hold it. It would pop this menu palette on your iPad. And it would allow you to change different pencils and erasers and different brushes, things like that. And you can do it all with just a squeeze. And you don't need to even be touching the iPad's display. You can do this in mid-air. And there's this new barrel roll functionality, which allows you where you can twist near the bottom of the Apple Pencil. And when you do this, it will adjust where in which direction the stroke that you're about to make goes. And this is actually pretty nice. And it has a new gyroscope in the Apple Pencil. So let's say you're drawing, you can do different swerves and different designs. It will allow a lot of creatives who do a lot of design work, graphic work. It's going to be a big step up for them, and they'll definitely be able to utilize that. And Apple showed off some of Procreate and Procreate Dream's new functionality that's going to utilize the Apple Pencil Pro's new gestures. And you have haptic feedback in the pencil, which can help you confirm that you've done specific actions in either an app or something on the iPad itself. And of course, just like the previous Apple Pencil, you do have Apple Pencil Hover, and this goes across both the iPad Pro and the iPad Air. So no matter which iPad you get, you can get this pencil and be able to utilize its full functionality. And this pencil is the same price as the second generation at only $129. And after all this great stuff, we do have one notable mention, and it's that the iPad 10th generation did drop in price from $449 down to $349. So if you're looking for the iPad 10, you might find a better deal this time around. Or for an even better deal, Amazon sometimes does some pretty good price drops that you can save a little more money on. So keep on the lookout for that if you are looking for an affordable iPad. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that iOS 17.5 and iPadOS 17.5, along with all the other OS updates, will be out most likely sometime next week. Probably Monday, is that's what Apple normally does. And this is so that they support the new iPads, and you also get quite a couple little features that you guys will be able to utilize on your devices. And also, you can order these iPads starting today, and the iPads will release next week. So that was today's event. Quite a lot of stuff released and announced, and I'm looking forward to checking it out in the Apple Store myself. That's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please drop a like. And if you want to see more videos like this with tech help or just overall tech overviews, then subscribe to the channel. Other than that, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.